Hi, my name is David, but you can call me Skiff, and welcome back to another episode of Notflix, the show about other shows. Today we are discussing Netflix's original series Insatiable Season 1, Episode 10, titled Banana Heart Banana. If you haven't watched the episode yet, I'm going to suggest you go ahead and do that first and come right back because I'm warning you now there will be spoilers. But if you have watched the episode, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. So last we saw Patty, she has finally come to terms with the fact, or is coming to terms with the idea that she may not be the best person in the entire world. And Bob had just ran to Christopher Gorham's house and we ended with an epic makeout sesh, or at least just a kiss. Flashing forward to this week, Bob is waking up in Christopher Gorham's bed and he is starting to think to himself, or he's starting to realize that he may actually have genuine feelings for Christopher Gorham. And he doesn't know how to reconcile that within himself. Because he even says, I have feelings for you, but I don't know how this fits into my life. So it was a moment in time, and it was what it was, and it was an itch I needed to scratch, and now that I have, I'm gonna leave that behind and I'm gonna go back to the life that I already knew, the life that is comfortable to me, the life that I was leading before. To which Christopher Gorham responds to him, look, you can still have all of those things because I've had all those things and I still continue to have all those things. All you have to do is compartmentalize, which isn't necessarily the best advice for somebody. I mean, he basically tells him, you can continue to lead the life that you already had. You can continue to lead the life that you know. And when we're together and we're alone, we can have what we have together and no one needs to know about it. He says he's been doing it his entire life up until this point, and he wants to continue doing that, and he's okay continuing to do that with Bob. I mean, he's basically is like, look, let's just live on the DL and we'll have our relationship in private, and that's fine. Now, Bob goes home and Alyssa Milano has moved back in, and she's like, look, if I'm going to give this relationship a fair shot, we have to be under the same roof, and I need to support you while you support me. This sort of throws Bob for a loop, and he's like, well, I don't know what to do now. If I'm going to be leading this double life and I'm going to be in this relationship with Christopher Gorham and I'm going to continue to have my family life, how am I going to juggle those things? And I mean, this is where we start to see the struggles with leading a double life or having a life on the DL, where on one hand you enjoy being with men, and on the other hand, you're married with a wife. I mean, how do you reconcile that? And for Bob, he just can't seem to figure it out, so he tells his wife that she needs to keep herself busy, focus on herself, and in this time, yes, they can be working on their marriage, but she needs to focus on herself. It's sort of a reason for him to distract her and for her to distract herself and to stay away from what's going on with him so she doesn't notice everything that he's going through. Now, what's going on with Patty in this episode is it's her 18th birthday week, and her mom and her best friend wants things to sort of go the way that they've always gone. I mean, her mom has cooked her famous breakfast, or her favorite breakfast, the same breakfast she's had every year on her birthday, to which Patty's like, I can't eat that this close to regionals. And her best friend Nani's like, I ordered a sheet cake for us from Costco. We do this every year. It's my favorite part of your birthday. And Patty's like, I can't do that anymore. I'm a new woman. Now, at this point, Patty gets called into the principal's office, to which we find out that Patty's being suspended for what she did to Dixie. This is what sort of spearheads the episode forward, and Bob comes up with this idea. He always is the fixer, Bob the fixer, which is interesting because he's sort of dedicated his life to fixing everyone else's problems so that he doesn't have to focus on his own. That's very interesting. Clever. He comes up with this idea that they can host a roast for Patty's birthday and in turn also make it a charity roast where they raise money to get Dixie a new electric wheelchair. Now we then find out that Dixie and her mother are living in their car. Their house has been foreclosed on and they come to this agreement with Bob that they'll agree to the roast, but they want more money, they want an electric wheelchair, and they want a new truck. I mean, at this point it's sort of like, who are Bob and Patty to argue with such a request? They're the ones who are trying to keep Patty out of being suspended because then she can't compete in the pageant. So that's sort of what our entire episode centers around, is Patty being afraid of the roast and going back and forth with sort of like, okay, I'll do the roast, and then Nani sort of like tells her like all the terrible things, and when she hears all the things lumped into one place, she's like, oh God, I can't do this, it's going to be terrible. And on the other hand, we have Bob trying to reconcile his feelings again for Bob, Christopher Gorham, and whether or not he's going to be able to lead this double life with him while still maintaining the facade of his relationship with his wife. This is actually finally the episode I've been waiting for this entire season. It is chock full of drama. It is real, and I think for the first time is the only episode without a sexual innuendo. That's not actually true. Christopher Gorham sends him nude text, banana heart banana, which we get the title for this week's episode from. So I guess there is that. I thought we made it through one, but I guess we didn't. But throughout this entire episode, we're seeing Patty and Bob struggle with these two different things that are going on in their lives, where Patty's is struggling with the idea that she may not be a good person, and Bob's struggling with the idea, on the other hand, that he may actually be bisexual. Now, throughout all this drama going on with them, Christopher Gorham is visiting Magnolia, which we haven't seen in a while, at the rehab center, and he realizes that all the lies in his life have sort of affected the people around him, and this is what Magnolia tells Bob is the reason behind her overdosing, to which he then responds to her that he's gay. So now he's coming to terms with the fact that he does identify as a gay man, and he wants to come out to everyone, and he wants to live as a partnership or in a relationship with Bob. And that sort of sets Bob in this sort of like tailspin where he doesn't want his wife to find out about the relationship because he's not ready to come out. And you know, it's hard to say because on one hand, Christopher Gorham has been living with this secret for so long, and it seems like it is finally the right time for him to come out to his family and figure those things out for himself. I don't think it's fair, on the other hand, for him to sort of want to force Bob's hand. Now, I guess on another hand, I don't have three hands, but, you know, that is the simile. Bob shouldn't want to lead this double life, and it's clearly not working for him because even he says that just doing it for 2 days, he's so flabbergasted behind the whole thing, and now that he's come to this, Christopher Gorham has come to this realization that he wants to come out to everyone, Bob is now afraid that he's going to tell people that they're in a relationship together, and it's just a big mess. And Alyssa Milano wants to come to the roast to support Bob because he's supporting her, and she's come up with a business idea, which is a tampon with a tassel at the bottom of it so that it's easier to find. And, you know, a lot happens. And we get through the entire roast, and Nani's the last one to go. And this is what sort of is the straw that breaks the camel's back. Because in giving her speech at the roast, Nani realizes that Patty may not actually have been a great friend to her and may not be the best influence on her. So she tells Patty that I can't be in this friendship anymore. It's not working for me. I need a break from us because it's affecting my relationship with my girlfriend. And if I have to choose between you and her right now, I'm going to choose her. And Patty's mom has left town. She tells her that she needs to find herself after her mom's boyfriend resurfaces at the roast. She gets him arrested. She gives her car to Patty and is like, just do me one favor and tell me that one day you're gonna leave this town because you can't stay here your entire life. And so that's why her mom sort of leaves. She wants to go find herself, so she leaves Patty alone. Nani leaves her, so all she's left with is Bob, and she goes to find him, and she walks in on Bob and Christopher Gorham kissing. Now what happens next is just awful. Patty then has her turn at the microphone and decides to tell the entire town that Bob is gay and he's in a relationship with Christopher Gorham. She sort of outs the two of them to the entire town, which is a terrible thing. Alyssa Milano tells Bob, don't bother coming home, ever. And Bob yells at her and tells her that I should have never expected that just because you're beautiful on the outside, that your insides were going to match, because you are a terrible person and you're very ugly on the inside. And then Patty realizes that this may actually be true, and she turns to the only thing that has ever actually given her solace in her entire life, which is food. So the final shot of the episode is very stark because it's just Patty sitting by herself eating this sheet cake, and there's no music, and she's just stuffing her face, and it's very dark in a very sad way. And what's going to happen next, I don't know. So I guess we'll have to wait till next week. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Notflix. If you enjoyed yourself here, make sure to subscribe and hit that bell notification so you can get notified every single time I upload a new video. If you want to keep up with me on a more regular basis, you can follow me across all social media platforms that you can call me Skiff. If you want to be a friend, tell a friend. We'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.